Hello everybody and welcome back to Alaris Labs YouTube channel. As you may know, the new version has been released and we are going to list the most important features and changes. As not all the features and corrections will be discussed in this video, you are welcome to check the full list of changes in the release notes. Please note that you can turn on the subtitles for the video by clicking on the subtitles control in the YouTube panel instruments. Check out our Facebook and LinkedIn pages to learn more about our life and business. Possibility has been added to reroute messages if no delivery report was received from them within a predefined period, which equals to the sent message status. To configure the feature, contact the Alaris technical support team and communicate the following code. Provide a list of client channels for which the feature must be enabled. It can be enabled for all client channels. And the interval after which rerouting will be performed in seconds. Each channel can have its own value. If no delivery report is received after the interval, an EDR with the expired status will be generated, which allows ignoring subsequent delivery reports from the vendor. If the route is the last or the only one on the list, the delivery report timeout is defined, as before, by the system parameter delivery waiting period. To enable writing off debts, the new invoice statuses have been added. Forgotten for direction invoice from partner. Bad debt for direction invoice to partner. This status can be set for invoices in the following statuses. Through the drop-down list, force invoice statuses located in the invoice edit form. When a new status is assigned, the following fields become available. Cancel debt amount. The amount that will not affect the balance. By default, the estimated amount is set. If the user specifies an amount, the Make Auto Mapping checkbox is deselected. If any mapping was performed earlier, it is removed, and the unmapped payment amount is distributed between the other non-mapped invoices, starting from the older ones. Or, if no non-mapped invoices are available, will be distributed in the future. Cancelled debt date. The date as of which the balance write-off will be affected. By default, the current date is used. For creating and editing payments, the new bad debt checkbox is available for confirmed payments. When enabled, the cancelled debt amount and cancelled debt date fields become available. When a full write-off amount is specified, mapping is removed from the payment and the Make Auto Mapping option is disabled. If only part of the amount is specified, the amount that is not written off remains mapped to the invoices. The new following permissions have been added to remove such payments. The new limitation rules interface has been added to the system. It serves to send notifications and block traffic when certain indicators for specified networks, for example ASR DLR, exceed or fall below predefined thresholds. To access the interface, the user must have the new SMS limitation rules permission. The notification that is sent if the rule is activated is configured in Administration Template Manager, the SMS limitation rule letter template. Indicators are calculated based on analytical cubes. The interface contains two tabs, the list of rules and the list of thresholds. Thresholds are set for each metric up to 5 values. Also, depending on the metric, they can be either in the ascending or descending order. They are used for sending notifications. If not set, a notification will not be sent, but the traffic will be blocked if the threshold of 100% is reached, if the rule is of the block and alert type. The following parameters must be set when creating a rule. Rule activity dates, the rule enable checkbox, rule type. If block and alert is selected, the traffic will be blocked for the period set in the block length field, the list of products and MCCMNCs, the limitation and the metric itself. Possible metrics values are the following. To add an MCC mask, use the paste option as illustrated below. Other required parameters for creation of a rule include the following. Period type defines the activity period of the block triggered by exceeding going below the indicated threshold. Additionally, it defines the analytical cubes that will be analyzed to verify that the threshold is reached. Period length, the number of periods for which statistics is calculated. Block length, number of block periods available if the rule type is block and alert. The traffic priority module has been developed to enable splitting up traffic, for example, advertisement and wholesale traffic, for faster sending and delivery of a specific traffic type. It is configured in the new traffic priority rules interface, access to which is enabled by the SMS traffic priority rules permission. The traffic priority is defined by the client channels, sender IDs, destination number prefixes, and message text templates. Messages with a high priority will be processed first. If no suitable priority rule is found, a message is considered to have standard priority, whereas any message matching a rule is considered having a high priority. Also, to enable sending standard traffic in case of large volumes of prioritized traffic, the SMS switch handles one standard priority message per 10 messages. This proportion is configured by the Alaris technical support team. Possibility to transfer optional fields to vendors has been added. It is configured in the Translation Rules interface. The new entity optional field TLV has been added. When selected, the following fields become available. TLV field tag, a TLV ID in hexadecimal format that must be transferred, case insensitive. TLV value, the transferred value. Additionally, it is possible to apply multiple rules of this type in a row. For this, set next action to continue or hard stop. The new system parameter dismiss previous year's vendor invoices automatically has been added, as well as the new dismissed status to allow ignoring vendor invoices. In this way, they do not affect the balance. The setting is disabled by default, in which case the status can be assigned manually using the false invoice status option that was previously called dispute status override. The following values are available. When dismissed is selected, the invoice no longer affects the balance. Please note that this status can only be assigned for invoices with the draft status. Also, the vendor invoice in the dismissed status can be confirmed, after which it will affect the balance again. For automatic assigning of the dismissed status, set the above-mentioned system parameter to 1. In this case, the new system parameter, the date after which the billing period is considered closed, will be taken into account. All draft vendor invoices before the specified date will get the dismissed status. To avoid unwanted changes to financial data for a past period, the new system parameter, the date after which the billing period is considered closed, has been added. The default value is null, which is the original system behavior. A possible value can be a date after which the period is considered closed, for example, the following date. In this case, no data for the year 2019 or earlier can be modified. A similar parameter has been added to the contract company's interface for more flexible configuration. The no modification after a specific date feature affects the following procedures: EDR recalculation, editing removal of charges and payments for closed periods, registration of payments for a closed period. It becomes impossible. Changes to invoices for closed periods are allowed under the following conditions only. The invoice has the draft status. The user can confirm the invoice or change its status to dismissed, forgotten, and modify the invoice parameters. The invoice is in the disputed, dismissed status. The user can modify the invoice parameters. Important: the registration date must be set in an open period, otherwise an error will appear. Mapping of an invoice from a closed period to payments from an open period is allowed, respectively. Mapping of an invoice from a closed period to payments from a closed period is not allowed. Mapping of an invoice from an open period to payments from an open period is allowed. Also, adding charges to a closed period is allowed if the invoice is not in the forgotten or dismissed status. The new system parameter add contract company name to carrier name has been added. The possible values are 0, do not add, and 1, add. When enabled, carrier names will be shown with the contract company name. The logic for generating charges and handling MO messages has been enhanced to control SMS DID numbers. When a DID number is selected, the following fields become available. Vendor product for the DID number type. It is an optional field that serves to define the product from which a MO message will arrive. Vendor billing scheme. Billing scheme for the use of the number. It serves to generate vendor invoices. The field is available only for the add and assign actions. Client product. Client product of the SMS type. It is required for termination of MO traffic that is received from the vendor product configured for the number. The field is available only for the add and assign actions. Client billing scheme. The billing scheme for using the number, which serves to generate vendor invoices. It is an optional field available only for the add and assign actions. If left empty, the number is assigned to the client but with no billing. If the deassign action is applied, both the client and vendor products are dissociated from the number. NRC charges are created for the vendor account at the moment when the number is associated with the vendor product if the NRC specified in the billing scheme for the vendor is not equal to 0. The client account at the moment when the number is associated with the client product if the client billing scheme is specified and the NRC specified in the billing scheme for the client is not equal to 0. MRC charges are created once a month for the vendor account for the use of numbers associated with the account products if the MRC specified in the billing schemes of these associations for the vendor is not equal to 0. Once a month for the client account for the use of numbers associated with the account products if the client billing scheme is set and the MRC specified in the billing schemes of these associations for the client is not equal to 0. Possibility to send messages to a client DID number has been added to MO routing based on the algorithm from the DID management reference reference book. The MO route search algorithm is as follows. Verify the track MO responses to MTs option. Verify the DID reference book. Verify the shortcode reference book. Also, the new checkbox Force DID Sender ID Translations has been added for client SMS and IM products. If selected and if an MT message is received from the client, the sender ID is translated to a random DID SMS number associated with the product from the DID reference book. The German language has been added for Alaris Campaign Portal. The stateful concatenation mode and part of long message checkboxes have been removed from the Advanced Simulation tab. The drop-down list UDH type now supports the following values. Not set. Both checkboxes are disabled. Type 0, similar to the enabled checkbox stateful concatenation mode with a 6 bytes long UDH. Type 8, similar to the enabled checkbox stateful concatenation mode with a 7 bytes long UDH. SAR, similar to the enabled checkbox part of long message. When exporting CDR/EDR from the Wholesale Portal, the export period is broken down into several parts in order to optimize the process, and a data table is created for each part. These can take up a lot of space in case of frequent export of large data amounts. To configure the system for creation of temporary tables, the system parameter use temporary files for CDR export to reduce redo generation has been added. Possible values are 0 and 1. The Show Vendor Product in the Wholesale Portal parameter has been added to the Partner Portal section of Administration System Settings. It controls the display of vendor products in the portal, for example in statistics. The option is enabled by default. Possibility to add a rate to multiple products through the Add Rate or Add Rate to Group options has been added to the Rate Editor. The Set Billing Account Manager button has been added to the Accounts tab that opens the Account Manager History interface for assigning a manager. The option is accessible to users having the Edit Account Manager History permission. The new Import Mode Delete Numbers has been added for the Shortcode Reference Book Import interface. It allows removing numbers by exact match with the destination number. For more convenient configuration of message rerouting by delivery report, the new optional parameter Delivery Rerouting Timeout has been added. It is available for client SMS products. Integer values are supported that denote a period after which the preset rerouting will not be performed and a delivery report will be sent to the client. If set to 0, the verification is considered disabled. Import of text has been enhanced in the Delete Matching Records mode. The due date column has been added to the Invoices interface for better usability and convenient filtering of information. By default, the column is not selected for display. The new system parameter Client Portal Default in Billing Period has been added, which sets the billing period for a client registered at the Campaign or Wholesale Portal. The default value is weekly. Possible values are the following. The following permissions have been added for more flexible control of Alaris Campaign Portal: Show Blacklist tab and Show Statistics tab. The permissions serve to provide access to the respective tabs. The new internal settings has been added to enable the system owner to hide the MO callback section, Account Settings tab, from Alaris Campaign Portal. To enable the feature, contact the Alaris technical support team and communicate the following code. The new permission Show MO Reply Templates has been added to the Partner Portal section of Administration Users. It serves to hide the fields related to MO Reply Templates. When creating a campaign, when viewing a created campaign, MO Reply Templates section at the Templates tab, the Reply Text filter as well as Source Message Send Time and Source Message ID columns of the Statistics tab. The permission will be automatically granted to users having the Partner Portal permission. The Export to MS Excel button has been added to the top table of the Swap Deals interface. Previously, possibility to send a response code description as an optional field in the Deliver SM packet over SMPP was added to the system. In the new version, it has been made possible to send the field to a client HTTP carrier with the help of the following marker, which can be set in the DLR push URL template field of an SMS channel. Possibility to search by the following masks in the destination number mask field has been added to the shortcode reference book editor. Also, several numbers or masks can be specified in the field, separated by comma, line break, pipe, or blank space. The new option Destination Number Book Search Filter has been added for filtering long lists, which also supports search by mask and by multiple values. Please note that only one filter can be used at a time. To reset the new filter, use the Clear Filter button. Possibility has been added to remove deals from the volume-based deal to interface. To avoid incorrect billing situations, a limitation has been added to modify the SMS billing mode for SMS retail products if their accounts have a subscription to an SMS pack and at least one SMS is already used from the pack. A limitation of 4,000 symbols has been added for the MCCMNC list when creating a routing rule. The carrier and account columns have been added to the numbers and history tabs of the DID management interface. The login column has been added for the Carriers SMS POI interface that shows the login info from the SMS channel. Earlier, when a message limit was added for a product, the current traffic consumption was not shown in the product details for vendor IM and SMS products. Starting from this version, it will be displayed correctly. The new period today has been added to the period selection control of the EDR expert interface, which serves to select the period from midnight of the current day till midnight of the next day. The maximum allowed number of symbols in the MCCMNC list field of a recompilation task is 3000. Possibility to view statistics by the HLR response code has been added to SMS Analytics. This field can be taken from different fields based on specific HLR service providers. See the details on the HLR response code metrics for a correlation between the field and HLR service provider. The display of fields for creation of translation rules has been enhanced. The tag field is now available only when sender ID is selected as the entity, and the thread as substitution checkbox is available only if message text is selected as the entity. Earlier, possibility to view country-based tags was added to SMS Analytics, enabling the user to view the information in the following columns. Starting from this version, the columns will be available to users having the permission View SMS Financial Details. Additionally, the permission will affect the display of the following columns. A verification has been added for the sender ID of the rates table. According to the specification, the sender ID can only contain ASCII symbols, up to 15. The Chinese localization of Alaris Campaign Portal has been updated. Operation of the hostname filter has been enhanced in Administration Trace Analyzer. Earlier, the filter operation by the IP address mask was not supported due to excessively strict verifications. The due date column has been added to the Invoices interface. The following marker is now replaced by the TimeZone based on the Use Agreement TimeZone option. If it's enabled, the Partner TimeZone is used. Earlier, the System TimeZone was displayed instead. If the Show Message Content permission is not granted to the user, EDR export from the Wholesale Portal will contain no message text. Possibility to disable caching of unsuccessful HLR provider responses has been added. Now it is possible not to save the provider details in the cache if the response arrived with no MCCMNC or could not be processed.